Welcome, everybody, to The Bidness. I'm your host, Curtis, and we have Brian as our returning champion and co-host there, coming in from strong on a southwesterly wind from Hawaii, the island of Hawaii.
I'm on Oahu here.
Oahu. Oahu, man. Hey, we got some cool guests today. This is kind of a punky episode. Usually we were like super ska centric, but we love punk rock, and so we want to make sure that punk bands and just about everybody. I mean, country bands, western bands, the two musics that matter. Are represented as well. So if anybody ever wants to reach out to the show, they can. Today we have Mark Hanford from SA90. Wave your hand. Hey, SA90 is a great punk outfit from Santa Cruz, California. They've been playing and recording for years, and he also participates in another group. It's kind of a secret shadow group. It's it's a bunch of it's an all-star band doing kind of like anti-Trump era protest style music. They're called MAGA Youth, MAGAYOUTH, and if you buy from their Bandcamp page, all the money goes to the Southern Poverty Law Center for defense of people that are incarcerated and investigation into legal practices and whatnot. With that being said, we have Mackenzie Rose joining us all the way from Colorado, sunny Colorado. She plays in a couple of bands out there, but her mainstay is a band called the Swashbuckling Doctors. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe we can get a little more information from her later about that. And the last time we saw her was on the Ska Parade tour, where she joined us and other bands on the show in playing Mad Trumpet, and her skills are super fresh.
Funky fresh.
And then
Funky fresh.
I'm wearing the hip hop sweater just for the funky fresh.
Wow.
And then finally, we have Parker Dean, or Parker Walrus Dean, from Legal Disaster. They are kind of like a really high energy punk rock meets ska, meets just about anything else you throw in the kitchen sink. They do some crazy things, like they've been doing some backyard concerts online for their fans and friends, and they hail from the Santa Rosa area, right?
Petaluma, yeah.
Petaluma.
Santa Rosa, Petaluma. Yeah.
We love Petaluma. We've been playing the Phoenix Theater.
I love the Phoenix Theater so much.
That was our last show together, Monkey and Legal Disaster, I think. Petaluma.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then we did play with you at Stockton. Maybe it was a Stockton. I don't know. It was some little
quite
ball.
possible.
That was an interesting time. We'll get to that in just a second.
We don't talk about Stockton shows.
Well, this one didn't include Midda, which makes it a really bizarre Stockton show.
That is a very bizarre one. Right.
But at the same time, I think it was Lodi. What's in between Stockton and Lodi?
Nothing at all.
There's something else.
Nothing at all.
Broken dreams. Hey, so the show's really simple. We just ask performers, artists, people that work in the industry, how this year was for you. What did you do to escape the mental of this lockdown? And did you start a garden? Did you adopt an animal? Did you start throwing pottery or do artwork or whatnot? And let's start with Mackenzie. Mackenzie, I want to know what's on your mind. What did you do this year?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think the most important thing that I've accomplished this year is I've been able to teach online with my students, and I'm actually a kindergarten through 8th grade music teacher.
Ooh.
So I've been I think that's like been the biggest thing, is connecting with them online has been just like incredible and like heartbreaking all at the same time. And just getting them involved in really different ways in music, and not a standard like B flat scale like we're all kind of used to, and sitting in class and doing that stuff. It's been like, hey, let's talk about album artwork, and let's talk about like music history, and more of like the unconventional music history and stuff like that. So that's been really cool. And then on a more personal note, Swashbuckling Doctors put out a little bit of music that we recorded before the pandemic, and then we're able to master it and put it all together. And then also, just for me in my personal life, I got way into backpacking, and I just like backpacking, like going out and being in nature and just getting as far away, the literal social distance, as like
all the
far as possible.
Shit.
Wait.
Now, oh my gosh.
Wait, is there nature? Is there nature in Colorado?
There's
I don't.
a little bit of nature. I mean, like,
I think
there's like some.
find nature right behind
That's
the
right.
trees.
Right behind the trees.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. You have to
They're right there.
search for it a little bit, but yeah. So just getting out, being outside, and like just trying to do everything possible outside. And Swashbuckling Doctors did a little bit of playing in like a park. Luckily, we all live within like a 5 square mile radius of each other, and so we're all able to, it's so middle school. We'll just throw our instruments on our backs and bike over to the park, and we like jammed out a little bit, and that was just so fun. And just before the winter hit, it was just like amazing. Just hanging out and jamming in the park was awesome.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah,
That's definitely what I love about Fort Collins, is that there is a laissez-faire culture there that is not in the Bay Area. The Bay Area, it's like, hey, it's a day off. Everyone's like in their house, even when there's not COVID. And why? Because this is a good time to get doing your coding side project, so that you can become a millionaire while being paid by another millionaire.
That's what the band was for.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I wish.
Making millions playing ska.
And speaking of making millions playing rock and roll, Mark, what have you been doing to keep yourself sane and to make those ooey gooey bucks happen?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I have a job. I can work from home, so I have been working full time the whole time through. So that's good for me, because then I can pay to live here. But with the start of like the lockdown, I was like, okay, I'm not going to see my band. I don't know how long it's going to be. And in fact, my drummer is immunocompromised, so I'm really not going to see my band under any reasonable timetable. So first thing I did was decided to try to learn harmonica.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
Because hey, so I went and bought myself a G and a C harmonica and did some online lessons and learned to play a little bit. And I'm not that good at it, but I can now poke around on the harmonica without just not knowing what I'm doing. So that's cool. Kind of stopped doing that. At the same time, SA90 put out a 7-inch right at the end of last year, so we haven't been able to play live and sell it. So, and I'm the record company, so so I've been trying to push the record and get it some places and stuff. So that kept me a little bit busy. I trying to teach myself synthesizer or MIDI keyboard, just because I got a MIDI keyboard and I got a computer, so what the hell not. But starting recently, I decided that I needed to, SA90 always practiced on Tuesday nights. And I'd just been watching TV or whatever, and recently I decided that I needed to have band practice, even if it's just me. Tuesday nights is going to be set aside to play music, whatever it is, or learn the keyboard or play harmonica. Or for Christmas, I got one of those S-drum pedals, which is basically a pedal that acts as a drummer and has a bunch of different sounds, and you can input the bass and drums, and then it takes care of all the other stuff. Sort of like, when you tell your drummer, I want it to sound like,
yeah,
right? You tell your drummer that, and he does all the rest, right? This pedal does the same thing.
Nice.
It's like, I want and then it fills in all the fills and everything else. Maybe not exactly what you plan, but it allows me to. I'm one of the main songwriters for SA90, even though I play bass. But it's allowed me to write some new music. I just, and then what I do is I record it and ship it off to my singer, because our usual process is me and the singer get together, kind of come up with the structure of the song, the hooks or the basis, and then bring it into the drummer and the guitarist and layer on top of that. That's how we write music usually. So so now, starting as of last night, I shipped off the first bass and drum track without my drummer, but the drum pedal, to my singer for her to like come up with lyrics. Yeah. And then we can move it on to the guitarist, and then a year from now, when we actually get back in the same room together, maybe we'll have some new music. And so that's my new thing, is like I'm trying to write new stuff just so that there's something fresh when we all get back together.
Awesome. That's awesome. And Parker, what I've seen some of your performances online and shared them. What besides the backyard parties and whatnot, what have you been doing otherwise to keep yourself fresh, keep your mind going, and keep your creativity up?
Yeah, let's see. We've done a few like small gatherings, like just the band and like our friends and loved ones. Live streams. Aside from that, I had a really short lockdown. My lockdown was about 3 weeks to a month before my work opened back up. Managed to get considered an essential business, even though it's an arts and crafts store. So, I mean, for me, like, it almost feels just like normal times, except I wear a face mask every day. What else? Yeah, I bought a few new instruments. I bought a melodica, which I like. I learned how to play that a little bit, and then I promptly bought a mandolin, and I kind of learned how to play that, and that's been fun. I bought some pets. I bought a hamster. I bought 2 chinchillas, and they're awesome. I love them. Cool. They're great. I love pets. I feel like I can't buy a dog because my apartment has a no pets policy, but smaller pets, I feel like they have to live in their cage, so I feel like that's all right. I love them. Let's see, what else? Aside from that, I watch a lot of TV, and as I'm sure we all do. Let's see, Legal Disaster released one single that we recorded pre-COVID, 2019, and then recently we released another single. Aside from that, I mean, I sometimes do my own personal live streams just to kind of keep music going, sort of. I mean, we all miss shows. That's pretty much it. When
you do your live stream, do you do it just straight from your personal page, or do you have like a page for Parker Dean?
Yeah, it's really from my own personal Facebook page. I just do like covers mainly of songs I've been working on or whatever, just by myself, just to keep life interesting, stay sane, and these weird times.
Yeah, they are certainly weird. Well, I've done a couple things on my end. I've gardened, of course. I'm kind of known for that, just putting in trees and pulling out old ones. And I've done a lot of cooking and a lot of TV, too much TV. But now I know where the good TV is. and done a couple things like resurface my bicycle. I have a 1948 Schwinn, and it's every once in a while it just needs to be completely taken apart and lubed up and put back together. So that's what I've been doing with my time. Has anybody learned anything new, like well, I know that Mark, you learned harmonica. Did any of you find any other new avenues of expression, like cooking or yeah. We're gonna say like
baking.
Brian, tell us what you've been baking.
Give me bread, all the bread, every bread I can get my hands on. Actually, yeah, we learned how to do like sourdough, did our own like sourdough starter and everything, and that was cool. I hate baking bread, by the way. I cannot knead dough to save my fucking life. Still,
What gets
I'm just like it's so sticky, and I just don't like it. I'm just
what I found out about the bread process is the one that's really hard to do is like the flaky breads, like the pastry style, because you got to fold it over. You got to fold it over a million times, but it has to be cold.
You're talking about like a short crust pastry with like butter and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I found potato bread's pretty easy to make. Like that's nice and delicious and put on some pounds, but whatever.
You're supposed to be taking off the pounds. You're supposed to be swimming in the ocean.
Oh, I've dropped about 40 pounds since I got out here, dude. So
he's using the bread as flotation.
That's it.
Short bites. Short bites.
Yep. That's it right there. I didn't actually lose any weight. I just got it taken out of my ass by sharks.
You know, they only like the buttery pastries. That's the only kind they like.
That's the buttery part. I guess his ass is the buttery part. So just for future reference, anybody out there, Brian's ass is the buttery part.
That's right.
Man, I haven't learned anything new, but I did start riding my bicycle like when it was light outside, because usually I'm at work every day and then I come home and it's like I just drove home from work and now I just don't want to veg. I'm at home, and so it's the end of work day, jump on the bike and go for a 4 or 5 mile bike ride and get home still and then make dinner. It was really nice until it started getting dark when I was off work, and then that's dropped out the window. But I'm waiting for the 39 days until the time change where I can it'll be light again, right? So
yeah. As a side note, are you still involved with Barbara's crazy cat complex? Her cat rescue?
Yeah, I mean, Project Purr, it's Project Purr, which is a feral trap and neuter release or return program. They had a thrift store in town, but they just closed it up because the lease was, they're going to turn that whole area of downtown Santa Cruz into apartments now and stuff. So, but they're still around, so we still do stuff for that. And we've got our 2 cats that we're active with, and so it's very cat centric here. We call our house the Meow Palace. Sunday.
We went over to their house after a show. We had played Catalyst or something, and and we went over to their house afterwards, and they're like, "Welcome to the Cat Palace," and there's like cages on the outsides of like windows and runways with chicken wired runways and stuff.
Those are catios. If they're outside, they're catios. Nice. We also built. We have a ranch style house, and we built catwalks down the hallways, so the cats would run down above our heads down the hallway into the top of a closet, through a wall, and out a bookcase into another room. Only your own home lets you do stuff like that, right? So nobody else is going to live here, and the cats are usually here more than we are. So why not make them, give them their own, space? So we've done that. So
nice. Do you have a link for the cat rescue?
It should be projectpurr.org. So PURR.org. Let me double check.
Nice. Brian will drop that into the feed just so people can check it out. Yep. It's really cool because that's one thing you don't know about. People read a book by its cover a lot, and they see a guy or a couple that are like in the rock and roll thing, and they're like, okay, cool. They're probably rock and rollers. They probably drink a lot. They probably smoke a lot. They probably party a lot. And then you get to their house, and their house is really nice, and they run a cat rescue, and they've got all these cats in catios outside, and they've got like little tea lamps everywhere, and it's absolutely beautiful.
That's all Barbara. If it was me, it would probably just be shit laying around, right? But I mean, I've kind of been that way my whole life. I'm 54, I think now, and my whole life, even in high school, I was a punker, but I was in the accelerated classes, right? So I've always played. I've always played with the image thing. When SA90 started, I purposely wore a cowboy hat on stage, even though we were a punk band, because, I thought we booked a punk band, but then these guys walk in with cowboy hats. I was like, what the fuck's going on, right? But it's still, then we pick out our music that, it's like blows people away, hopefully. So playing with that image versus what the cover of the book versus the inside of the book is something I've always kind of been about. So it's kind of what it turns me on to do.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I can definitely see that in even the side project MAGA Youth, right? When you come across something called MAGA Youth, you think it's going to be pro-Trump, pro-MAGA, right. and to see that it's not, and it's gathering funds for the Southern Poverty Law Center, you can see that there's a duality that you like to express, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I've always liked that in ska. For me, the songs that have the most presence are songs that are about shitty things that have happened, but set to the most awesomely fun music ever.
Right. Or
the opposite, sounds super dark, but it's like, it's just really dark and morose sounding, and then you're like, this is a beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
I am in love with that kind of stuff. It really hits home with me,
Mark, I can really relate to the kind of that dueling life situation, because I just remember kind of in the height of the whole gigging season prior to the pandemic, it was like I would be finishing Old McDonald kindergarten and then hopping in my car and heading down to downtown Denver and then playing a show.
Yeah.
It was just such a different, and just having that separated life, or that face of a teacher when I'm at school, and it's just that separation and kind of playing with those two identities almost. It is really kind of an interesting, I always have found that really interesting, and playing music, but also teaching music as well.
Yeah, say 90. We have our guitarist is a fourth grade teacher in San Jose. Full-time job, and our drummer until he went on medical leave was like a salesman for a sale. In other words, we're all professionals, but we never gave up our punk rock background. We have a need to play music since we were in our teens, and here we are in our 50s, and we're still doing it because it's that important to us. So punk rock is an old man's game now, so it's for the oldies.
I'll keep it alive. I'll keep it alive as long as it'll stay alive.
Exactly.
So.
I think Parker might have something to say about punk and what punk is doing these days.
What punk is doing these days?
What do you see as the future? As a future of punk?
Of punk, I think punk's coming up. I could say a lot about ska. I think ska's really coming up.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to once quarantine's over. I think it's really gonna hopefully take this country and the world by storm. I feel like it's what we really need right now.
Yeah, positivity.
Ska's like a lifeline for me. It has been since high school. It's man, I can't explain it. I mean, I listen to it every single day. It's what gets me through the day. I mean. And
you guys have a track on What Do You Know About Ska Punk Volume
5.
6?
5.
Yes.
5. Volume 5. Yes,
nice.
We did. We have a song called 211s about Steel Reserve. It's a re-recording of an old song of ours from one of our older EPs. Glad to have it out. Lots of awesome tracks on that album too, 150 bands at least. Absolutely worth checking out.
Nice.
Brian, I'm getting your Bandcamp though, right?
Getting it right now.
That track is on your Bandcamp. I think I listened to it earlier today.
It is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, sick. Yes.
So
it's up on there as well. Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure I wasn't dishing on anybody's music before I came on. So,
Hey, Mackenzie, do they sell 211 Steel Reserve in Colorado? I mean, Colorado's got great beer, so I don't know if
they do, but they only sell it as turpentine.
So for the people,
I don't know. I do not know. I'll have to check. It's been a long time since I've been out, so.
so for the people in the feed that may be not from California or the West Coast, we have this beer out here called 2-in-1 Steel Reserve, and it says on the can high gravity beer. High gravity, right? So that's I guess some brewing term, right? But it says 8.25 alcohol on the side, and it drinks like a 12, and it feels like a 15. It is just like it's like a what is it, a lemon wedge wrapped around a gold brick smashing through your brain.
Yeah,
It's not great. I'll be honest. I
Gargle
never
Blaster.
drink it anymore.
Yeah.
I can now, at this point, I have a job. I can afford regular beer. So I'm just going to drink that. I mean, it's not worth it. But in high school, it was great.
2-in-1's
Yes.
kind of a commitment. It's a commitment. You got to, once you open it, you take a sniff and you're, whew, oh, this one's going to be bad. This one's going to be bad.
Oh, yeah.
But let me tell you something that I found out about 2-in-1, because I for a while there I was drinking it just trying to figure out why someone would want to drink something that's so horrible, and so I was trying to flavor pair it with things. So I was like eating it with barbecue, eating it with chips. It's just like this thing just tasted horrible with no matter what, right? And then one day I went to the local bodega, right, and I picked up 2-in-1, and I saw those big fat Mexican frosted cookies, right? You sell them at the panaderias, right? Like just a big, like super soft sugar cookie, and it's just vaguely sweet, but then it has that hard shell of like lard on the top, right? Took one of those home, bit into it, took a sip of the beer, expecting it to be the most horrible thing, because sweet things don't usually go with standard beers. And man, it paired like all get up. It is really good taste together. So if you are stuck with just 2-in-1, go get yourself some sugar cookies.
I'll have to try it. I'll have to try it sometime.
That, or just like start hitting yourself in the head with a hammer. It's all over. It's all over.
Either way, it works.
Have you guys seen the have you ever heard of Edward Beer Hands?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Edward 40 Hands. Never.
Oh yes, the younger kids know what Edward Beer Hands is. So you get something really ridiculously alcoholic like 2-in-1, and you get it in the 40 version, right? So you're already screwed. And then someone duct tapes them to your hand, a gigantic mitts, like ball of duct tape, and then you have to drink both of them before someone can release the duct tape so you can pee. So what happens is about the last third of the second one, you are just smashed and you don't care anymore, and you just piss yourself. You're like,
That sounds like a part.
that is a part.
Is it, so it's the worst,
And then wake up and stuff drawn all over your face.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
is it the worst beer you've ever had? Because you said that you a lot of it, so,
Yeah,
I know what the worst beer I've ever had was. Cool. Mentholated Cool 45.
I've had regular Cool 45, but
mentholated Cool 45 was a 90s thing.
My stomach literally just did not. It's like yank.
That night, Cold English 800, which I totally don't understand why, but mentholated Cold 45, it was like drinking a dirty menthol ashtray. It was, I had 2 bottles of it, and I drank them both because I had them, but, 240. 240 is a mentholated malt liquor.
That's where you know he has punk cred, because he's like, I am going to drink these. They taste like ass on fire. Not Brian's ass, because then it would taste like buttery ass on fire. But ass on fire, and I'm still going to drink it because I'm a cheap punk ass bastard, and I love that. I love that. That's a good foundation. Really good foundation.
I'm pretty sure it's not made anymore, but it's I'm sure.
When I was coming up punk, it wasn't about beer. It was all about Zimas and Skittles.
Pop punk?
Why Zima?
Dude, just flavor it. Like that's it. Like, and that was it. Like every single fucking person in my little like hometown, like down at the punk shows, were just crushing cases of Zimas.
Skittles!
Oh yeah, no. Just,
Someone just flip a couple of like Mentos in there.
One of my very first shows I ever went to, it was Streetlight Manifesto, and they were at the House of Blues in San Diego. And I grew up in Southern California, and so we convinced, because we didn't want our parents to take us, we like convinced my neighbors across the street who were like in their 40s at the time to like drive all these like teenagers down, but they were like they were younger, so like they were still kind of cool, so we could like hang with them. We're like, hey, can we stop at the store and get some snacks? And they're like, yeah, sure. And we got Captain Crunch cereal and raw cookie dough, and got like like this picture of us all in our like Streetlight Manifesto gear eating raw cookie dough, and they just thought it was like the funniest thing in the world. And just weird little ska punk kids just doing whatever they wanted to do. It was just
Nice.
yeah. So for us, it was raw cookie dough. Yeah,
bunch of straight edge.
you know, right? I will say this though, I don't know if you guys, do you have a Montucky cold snack in California?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Curtis
Because I
loves
never
Curtis.
drank it in California when I lived there.
No,
But
no,
Montucky cold snack.
it's very hard to find in California.
What was that?
It's very hard to find. It's hard to
Okay.
find in California.
It's everywhere out here. Like, I mean, I could like look under a rug and there's like a 6-pack of Montucky. It's just like, and that's like the beer that built the last 2 Swashbuckling Doctor like albums in the studio. It would just always be around, and like, you know, we'd take like a picture and like post or whatever. And one of our guitarists, his girlfriend, convinced Montucky to like sponsor us, quote unquote, and they sent us just like a bunch of Montucky swag. And like we played
awesome.
it was so cool. And we played one show.
Do that.
It was crazy. I don't know how she did it. I don't know what she did. I don't know who she talked to. But
Tell her to come on the show and tell us how to do it.
yes,
Hey, Kurt.
I will. Yes, it was crazy. And so they just sent us this huge box of like Montucky hats and like t-shirts or whatever. And we played
Nice.
one show and of all our Montucky gear, like at this one venue called the Lions Lair down in Denver.
Uh-huh.
And they thought it was hysterical. They just thought it was like the funniest thing they'd ever seen. It was just all of us in Montucky gear, and we turned into a whole bit.
Nice.
That's everything our band does, is do weird bits the whole time. That's like our thing.
So
Our band drinks whiskey, except for
Same.
our singer who doesn't drink at all. But the rest of the band drinks whiskey. That's what we do.
it's good to have a Montucky snack around to kind of take the edge off the whiskey.
I do believe that Monkey is actually just comprised of Jameson and PBR. That we aren't actually human beings.
Like humans are mostly water, but you're mostly Jameson and PBR. So you know.
What was the name of that? The cases of beer that we got from the motor pool.
Oh no!
Do you remember the name of the beer?
No!
Oh my God!
No. Okay, so here, Micah has this other. Micah has like multiple bands that record or practice at his house, right? And he's got this one guy who. Well, let me back up. Before that, there's a local automotive place that does concerts in their roll-up doors. They just do a roll-up door. They take the lift down. They put the band right in front of the lift, and everybody just hangs out and barbecues and drinks, right? And it's a great time. But that dude has a friend who tried to start a brewery, and it didn't go so well. So he had lots, and I'm talking lots of beer left over. So he brought the beer, thinking he was going to sell all the remaining stock to these kids that are hanging out at the auto shop for the rock and roll show. But everybody brought their beer, right? So they're not going to buy a beer for $5 when they brought like a big box themselves. So they're drinking, and this beer's just sitting there. So it sits there for a week or two. It's just sitting there, and the guys at the auto shop are like, man, I don't know about that beer. That beer's not so good. I mean, it's really getting old at this point. And so they give it to this band member that Micah's in a band with. He brings over literally like what do you call it? Like a 48 can pallet, right? A 48 can pallet, but it's like 20 stacks high of beer. Like it's as big as a human being, at least. And it's sitting there, and we're just, every practice, we're like, okay, cool. You guys got to open it up. It's like, no, I can't do it this week. Okay, then pour it out. For the love of God, we need to get rid of it. So it just kept cycling and cycling, and it was there haunting us. Like it got down to the last pilot, and we're just like, throw it away. No, we can't. Throw it away. No, we can't. We're trying to invite friends.
Throw it away.
We were trying to invite friends over to drink it because it sucked. It was the worst.
It was so bad. Well, and it was like super like high, it was super high gravity beer.
Yeah.
And so it was like already like 8%. But then I don't think they did the bottling process correctly, because it continued to actually gain alcohol after it was canned. So like by the time that we were getting around to it, the things were like thick, syrupy, practically a sour, but like not a good sour, and like 14% or better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'd like crack it, and you'd be like, oh God, I can't do it. Like, and it was sitting in Micah's garage for like a year and a half. And Micah's garage is in San Jose, California, so it's like 85 fucking degrees there all the time. So
it got so bad that I started calling up friends on the weekends to do like backyard parties, and I would take like 2 6-packs over to my house and then just put them on ice, get them real frozen, and then have friends drink it. And they're like, it ain't so bad. And about halfway down, they're like, yeah, I don't know about this beer, man. This is kind of hurting. This is hurting.
I think we might have actually poisoned some people during that year and a half, Kurt. I'm not sure.
Turns out it wasn't the bats that started COVID. It was Monkey with that fucking beer. Awesome.
I knew it was Monkey.
Awesome. Hey, Jeremy Champion's in the feed, and he said Zima and Jolly Ranchers were a thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, yeah. What's the melon liqueur, the green stuff? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Midori.
Midori. So when I was a kid, it was Midori and Zima. Everybody walking around with like electric green Kool-Aid drinks.
I'm older. When I was a kid, they were drinking Spartles and James wine coolers. Wine coolers. Those were big
in my era as well. Yeah.
God, when I first started working in bars, 17 years ago now, at O'Flaherty's actually, the big drink were Midori sours, and I'm just like, these are so bad. What is wrong with you people? There's like, we'll take a double Midori sour, and it's all these dude bros in downtown San Jose just like walking around with like pint glasses of double Midori sours.
Wait, hold on. Dude man bros.
Dude man.
Dude man bro. Dude.
Hey.
Man.
Do you even dude bro?
Nah, man, I don't do man bro.
Christ.
Awesome.
We tackled the really important subjects on this show.
Yeah, you guys are making me feel way better. We had not to bring the tempo down, but we had a death in the ska community today. So I just want to make a quick statement about that. Brian's going to put it in the feed. There's a charity fund going for his family. He's a friend of ours from Fresno, and he succumbed to COVID. So just for everybody out there, please wear your fucking mask. Please, it's not a joke.
Pretty easy.
So
Bartles and James went to Zima, then Smirnoff Ice, and now it's White Claws and other hard seltzers. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Certainly other hard.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, White Claw tastes like ass, man. Somebody left one in my fridge. I drank it, and it was like, what the fuck? Well, how can anybody drink this shit? You know?
It does. I'll tell you,
there's some seltzers that are really
started
tasty.
this year.
What? Say again.
I really started this year off with White Claws, though. They really taste like ass, but they really kind of taste like water.
Right.
Ass
And
water.
they get you drunk fast. But the only problem is they're so damn expensive. I can't afford that shit. No way.
23 bucks for a 12-pack. Get the hell out of
Oh my
here.
God.
Just get a bottle of Everclear or something and dump it in water.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's a couple of the seltzery, like boozy ones that are I think are actually quite tasty, but they're not the White Claw. They're not the major brands. Like, you know, like the Kona Brewing Company does their seltzer stuff, so it's all like Mai Tai flavored and shit like that. And those are really tasty. The thing that cracked me up was early on in the White Claw thing, because I work at a restaurant in the marina of San Francisco, which is just like the dudiest, broiest area of the city of San Francisco. And, you know, you got the Chads and the Brads with their like little like sweaters over there. I'm not even kidding, like salmon pink shorts, and they're like walking around with their like it's bougie. But they're like, and I'm walking down the street, and there are these two. There's the Chad and the Brad, like sitting in the trunk of a car, just sitting there, just like crushing White Claw after White Claw as I'm walking by. And I'm just like, what is even happening here right now?
and they think they're so now that it's like oh, it's so hip, like you don't understand what White Claw's about. It's like, no, White Claw is garbage.
I will admit that one ass flavored White Claw kind of got me a little like, you know, I was a little buzzing for one ass flavored White Claw, but
right.
I don't drink to necessarily get a buzz anymore. I drink because I like the flavor of whatever I'm drinking, right? So I'm not going to drink just to get a buzz. So,
Yeah.
You know what? Out on a beach here, like when it's hot, when I was out here a year and a half ago or whatever with Bruce Lee Band, and we were sitting out in Kailua Beach, and like Mike Park and Kevin Noguchi and all those guys are all sitting around just like drinking these seltzer boozy things and everything. I went down to the store. I got a couple of beers. I got back to the beach. I cracked a beer and I started drinking. I'm like, this is not fucking hitting home for me. And that was the first time I ever had a seltzer one. And you know what? It makes sense when you're on a hot beach.
I will say if you got really clean vodka, just hitting like a sparkling seltzer water with a good clean vodka, it doesn't even affect the flavor. You just taste the you know, if you get like a what do you call it, LaCroix, right? You get a little Croix, whatever your favorite flavor is. Mine's
I believe it's LaCroix.
And then hit it with a really good vodka. You should be good to go. Much better than one of these White Claw fabrications. And you don't look so douchey.
I don't know. You're drinking LaCroix.
Natty Light seltzers also.
Yeah.
Right. Natty Light.
Natty Light seltzers, very cheap. Don't taste great. Definitely taste worse than White Claws, but very cheap.
Wait, but Natty Light is already a seltzer.
That's fair. That's fair, but these ones are even
Look,
more
if you're gonna drink
seltzer.
something that tastes like ass, it might as well be the cheapest, right? I mean, that's I'd go with the Natty Light over the White Claw, because if it's gonna taste bad, fucking don't spend any money on it at least. So.
Right. Exactly.
All right, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about what's the craziest, most drunkest you've been at a show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay,
Everyone's like, oh, I don't know about that.
Can I tell Curtis's story? No.
You bastard.
Oh no, go ahead.
All right.
Okay. I played a show at the Stork Club once.
Oof. Drunk at that
okay,
place?
and this was actually the day before I played my last show with Monkey at the Phoenix. It was the day before. And I had my my lead guitarist Aiden his guitar in his bag, and also I decided to be lazy and stuff a giant, this big size metal pedal board in the pocket, and I had it by the strap. I dropped it. It landed on my toe and it broke it. It was damn swollen. I was like, okay.
Broke your toe or the pedal?
No, the pedal's fine. The pedal's hefty. My toe broke.
Pedal 1, toe 0.
Yeah, toe 0. I was like, all right, we're getting drunk. Hey, they have a bar here. Let's get drunk. Oh, they have tall cans at the bar. Oh, great. Fucking also drink tickets. Yeah, like, oh, let's go. Oh, we have beer in the car. Let's drink the beer in the car too. By the time we start the show, I get through maybe 2 songs on my guitar before I had to openly admit. And the best part is that they gave us an actual CD after of our whole set, so I keep that in my car just
to remind yourself.
Just to remind me. After 2 songs, I had to put my guitar down and just go with the microphone, and it was not great. By God, yeah. It was fun though. I had a great time. I remember
you should put it out as a
Phoenix the
single.
next day. Huh?
You should put it out as a single, or put out the live show so that people, just call it Drunk with Legal Disaster.
No, I literally was going to put it out, Legal Disaster Drunk at the Storm Club, and I don't think our drummer really was down. I talked to him about it. He said, no, we can't do that. Come on, it's fun. It's so fun.
That's awesome.
And people loved it. Oh my God, the crowd loved
really?
it. I mean, I was shit-faced, but whatever. It's a punk show. Sometimes it's just like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't high-quality music, but it was fun. I showed up the next day to the Phoenix show, and oh my God, my toe was so swollen after like skanking on it all night the night before. And then the next night I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to have a good time anyways. Do the same thing. I think it was with the Skunkadelics. And I was like, okay, I'm going to leave. And their horn player was like, really, you're going to leave before Monkey comes on? And so I was like, I showed him my toe, and he was like, "Oh, dude, you better go home." and that's why I missed out on your set, and I'm so sorry, but it was bad.
We'll never forgive you. We'll never forgive you.
Okay.
What about you, Kenzie? What's the most drunk you've been, Mackenzie?
Oh man. Okay. There's like, gosh, is it bad that I'm like, wow, I gotta like think. There's like.
Well, it started at that chicken place.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, the chicken place was just, that place was so good. And they closed for like 6 months during the pandemic, and then once it's called Music City Hot Chicken, amazing. Once they opened up, our band went nuts and had to go back there. So quick toe story. I went and saw the Descendants at Mishawaka. It's like an outdoor music like kind of amphitheater up in the canyon of Fort Collins, like up the Pooter Canyon, if you will. And
wait. Is that where they did reggae on the Pooter?
That's where we played. We played there with 12 Cents.
Yeah. I think that's where they did reggae on the Pooter.
On the Pooter, it's so cool. Well, I saw Descendants.
Pooter is a river, by the way.
It's a river, for clarification.
I believe it's pronounced Powdre.
Oh, Powdre, right? Poudre. And we were hanging out. It's actually with the Swashbuckling Doctors, and I don't know what possessed me to wear like sandals to a punk show, but I did, and I ended up breaking my toe in the mosh pit seeing Descendants. It was so bloody and gross. And I remember someone poured like PBR on it. And I'm like, oh my God. Going back with the band. Anyway, I digress.
Wait. I get the idea of pouring alcohol on something to kill germs, but you're pouring beer, which is yeast.
Curtis, I think you have to remember this. There was a whole day involved in drinking prior to. So, PBR had alcohol in it. So we're like, it's all good. But the band played a private show. It was a close friend of ours' 50th birthday, and so we're like, this will be great, super fun. Private shows are always the best because like we stood up there with like glasses of champagne in our hand the whole time, and very classy. And it was really funny. The band text just yesterday was recalling this. It was like 3 years ago, and there's such a great picture of all of us like breaking down from the set, but we all have drinks in our hands, and clearly we're trying to like all break down the instruments at the same time, but can't like function enough to like figure out how to break down our set. Yeah, one like Renaissance-esque picture of all of us, and it's like it looks like this gorgeous painting of all of us just like.
That's when you're like, it won't come off. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
Oh man!
We deemed that the pizza and prosecco night because there was pizza involved. There was a lot of prosecco.
Nice.
And yeah, it was just hysterical. Like this is just this one picture, and it's so funny you say that. The lead singer Scott, he just texted the whole group that picture yesterday, and it was just so funny. The night we all remember.
Mark, you probably.
I think.
Well, I mean, I drink, but I rarely get so plastered. I can't remember a time in the last 30 years where I was so plastered that I, was unable to perform. I do remember one show 20-something years ago where the whole band decided to drop acid right before the start of our set came on in the middle.
Oh boy, it's in there.
Because like, oh look, Andy's
Why is the crowd melting?
lost in his guitar solo. He has no idea. It's like yeah. We played like 3 or 4 years in a row a private crush party up above Hillsburg, and all the local restaurateurs and stuff brought like expensive fucking bottles of wine, and there's like a roast pig and a roast goat, and like all the restaurateurs all the chefs are bringing their dishes, and it's all outside on a mountaintop up above Hillsburg, kind of like, and we get paid in cases of Rombauer wine. So we actually got paid for like 5 cases of $30 bottle.
Was that
right? $35 bottle.
Was it the Rombauer Chardonnay?
There was some Chard and some of the red, but most I've ever made a show, honestly, because if you were to go sell bottles, right? But we played last because it was like kind of like there was like a folky band, and then there was this hippie jam band that went on forever, like honest to God, like 2 or 3 hours. And we were set to play last because then most of the younger kids had gone home, and the people with kids and stuff, and we're kind of a raw punk band, and they were always happy to have us, but for whatever reason, one year I just was drinking wine like crazy, and I was pretty plastered, and to the point where like right before we went on, I went to the wine table and grabbed like a $70 bottle of wine that was mostly full, and just took it up on stage with me and was drinking out of the bottle the whole time, just like swilling expensive fucking wine, and I was drunk, but it didn't really. I played pretty well, as far as I know. I mean, it felt good. There was a hot tub right off the side of the stage, and at one point I thought about throwing myself in the hot tub, but then thought I might have do myself. So it was just a really good time. I think the worst thing that happens when I get plastered is I was trading insults with the audience, even though I wasn't insulting them because I was, I felt like we had a repartee there, but the rest of the band apparently was aghast. But I thought we were having fun, just kind of flipping each other's shit. I don't know. And then that brings to mind, like, with the Broken Toast.
We're playing the Young Conservatives Club again.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't like it, go home, I think I said at one point, but and my old punk, and I still would do it if I'm having if we're having a bad show or something, I'm just going to keep playing like we're the greatest fucking thing in the room, and even if we're not, right, I'm just going to keep playing like we're the greatest fucking thing in the room, and if it annoys people and they leave, I find it funny. I don't know. But a few years ago, I was playing a reunion show with my old band in Idaho. I flew up to Idaho for a reunion show, and second to last song, I stepped backwards off the side of the stage and blew my ACL out in the middle of the set. But I crawled back on stage. Somebody got me a chair, and we finished up the set. I mean, I flew all the way to freaking Idaho for the show, right? And then it ended up being like a $5,000 with insurance bill to play that show, but worst stage injury I've ever had. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it was just my ACL and not my head, as far as I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Mac, I believe you have to go shape young minds.
I sure do. I teach private lessons at night because, teachers don't quite get paid enough money during the day. So
Cool.
I don't know if you guys do that.
You have to leave like right this second, or can you spit? Two, 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So we like to the concept of the show is kind of we want to give the crowd a little bit of your personality, right? Because you see bands and you don't really ever get to hang out with them, get to talk to them, get to see how they are when they're relaxed and just talking about life. But we want to encourage artists to reach out to others and to make a better scene happen when the lockdown restrictions have been released and we can all do something again. So my ending question of all the shows is just, what do you think you can do as an artist or as a person to encourage others to take this seriously at full speed the minute that the lockdown is lifted? What can we do to engage and to fire up the community? And we'll start with let's start with Parker. Parker, what do you have any? Have you had any thoughts about how to engage your local bands, promoters, clubs, and just really get everybody fired up about what we need to do?
Yeah. I have had a few, and that can be hard sometimes. I've been trying to do that for a long time now. Putting together my own shows and promoting as much as I can. And it's just it's a little bit sad because this area, Sonoma County, they kind of have this weird punk scene that's kind of hipsterish, and I remember like freshman year in high school, they would have some fun ska shows at the Phoenix. That's when I really got into it. There were like, and I caught the tail end of it. Oh my God, like blew my mind. I remember this one show. They what was that? They had some good Skank Agents. Don't Tip the Twister. Other bands and like crazy. And it kind of died out after that. And I'm really hoping that once, and sometimes it's hard to get people to come to live shows. You could promote your ass off. You can do everything you're supposed to. You can use the internet. You could go and put up actual flyers, print them up, put them all over town. And sometimes it's really hard to get people to come. Really what we should do is branch out into the city. I mean, the Sonoma County is great and all, but it's just I guess they aren't feeling it. There's a friend of ours, Brian, he does promoting and stuff. He does a lot of metal and punk shows. He's putting together that Redwood Skull Fest.
Yeah,
that guy. Hopefully that still happens. Yeah. Very hopeful. I'd like to maybe branch out a little farther out into our environment, travel some maybe farther distances to play some shows. Try maybe, just try and bring some good ska bands up here. See if I can get some people to come down, Norway to San Francisco, maybe get some to come all the way to Sonoma County. And, maybe we'll build a good scene, maybe. Well, I'm hoping that once, shows are finally a thing again, since people have been deprived of them so long, they'll actually come to local shows. They'll want to come out and have a good time, and they'll come to their local ska show and they'll realize, wow, this is better than every other show. So let's go to this show. Let's go to all those shows.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mackenzie, what do you think you can do to encourage the next generation of musicians? And I'm saying this specifically because you're a teacher as well. You have the sculpting the young minds in your hands, right?
Yeah.
So how do you sculpt them to be super energetic about music and art and lifestyle?
I would say you have to find the thing that clicks with every single like generation of kid that comes through. Like there's just something that will light a fire under every kid, and highlighting, especially teaching band, like, you know, and the best thing about ska bands is you can say like, hey, this band has a clarinet in it and they're just like rocking hard.
Yeah.
Like you can do that. And like giving them like just stuff to say like, hey, you know, this is something that you can do, not as necessarily a career if you want to, that highlights your instrument. It's not just guitar, it's not just drums. Like you can really highlight the horns, and you know, I'll talk horns all day long being a trumpet player, but I think just giving them so much more than just, we call them the old dead white guys, is just like, you know, Beethoven, Mozart, all that stuff, like, you know, giving them something a little bit more just that's tangible for them. And there's this video that I put online right before the ska parade, and it was the kids skanking to a cover of Longest Time, and it's great. You know, they just have such a good time, and just making things fun and making things poppy for them really opens up that next generation. Because I remember when I heard ska for the first time, it was the Specials, and that's where I fell in love with ska. And it's been, you know, 15 years old, you know, and I think there's something to the nature of the music that's so positive. Like you mentioned earlier, you know, it could be such dark lyrics, and it's sad and it's emotional, but I think there's like this funny phrase, it's online, it's like, the world might be falling apart and everything's like going crazy, but you know what? I've got a fucking trumpet. And like,
that's great.
Live. But
that's great.
Yeah, that's really what it is. I think I'm so fortunate. The Swashbuckling Doctors are first and foremost a family. We love each other. Like we love each other like brothers and sisters, and like we fight like brothers and sisters. You know, we take care of each other. And I think that's the nature of the scene in general. The ska punk scene is everyone's really like embraces one another. And I think Denver, I want you guys to come out to Denver, because Denver is loving and they enjoy bringing people. And it's so great to see. It might be a lot of the same people, but damn, they hold it up too. Yeah. They really hold up the scene. Yeah. And so honestly,
that show at the Bluebird was amazing.
I know.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I think people are just so jonesing to get out. Yeah, probably.
We got right after that tour. We got sick after the tour. So
I think ska is happy. It embraces people, and I don't know that it takes any sort of advertising or anything. I think you just be happy and embrace others. Yeah.
If you play it,
they will come.
Nice. Mark, you got two young viewpoints here, telling you how to make the world a better place for musicians and artists. What is your take on it? We want to hear the sage advice from
the old man's take on it. Honestly, I've got a problem that I didn't grow up in Santa Cruz, so I'm not that connected to the scene except for my band playing. I mean, I'm connected to the scene in Boise, Idaho, because I was a punk there for like 15, 20 years, and maybe not that long, 15 years. And I'm still like, you know, kind of almost involved up there. Mm-hmm. Santa Cruz, I've been here for 23 years, but I'm older, and so I don't have the clique of people that, you know, I grew up with. But what I see is that people don't go to shows. I mean, there's a lot of good bands, you know, and we've got some clubs, and getting an audience out to a show is super hard. Yeah. I mean, unless, you know, but then I look at places like Winters in Pacifica. You don't have to be known and you still draw because they have a community, right? A community around that particular bar. And I think that what scenes need is a community that will go to see things regardless of what band is playing, Punk Monday night or whatever. I think in Santa Cruz we have a possibility that Brian Zeal from Enemy of My Enemy just bought Moe's Alley.
Nice.
I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, we just heard about that.
I'm going to say something, and this is a little blue to be saying on a show like this, but when I heard about that, I mean, I've always had good times at that club. The owner has always treated me personally with respect, and we've had great shows there. But the first thing that went through my head is maybe the local bands will actually get paid now.
Yeah.
Because we were responsible for saving several shows, the last minute saves, and just working so hard. And the most they ever gave us was $100.
So I have no insight into how Brian.
Right.
I'm often surprised about when musicians are running something and then they are cheap to other musicians. I'm not saying Brian's going to be that way because I have no idea. Yeah. But I've had experiences where it's like, oh, this is going to be great because the promoter is a fellow musician. He's in this band. He's going to treat us right. And then that's not what happens. And I think that, right? Yeah. But I'm hoping that we can find a way to start a community so it doesn't matter. I mean, the Blue Lagoon's still here, but never been able to see that be like it's Tuesday night or whatever. It's Wednesday night, I think is when it's Wednesday night. Let's go down to the Blue just because that's where the bands will be and that's where the people will be. I don't know if it's possible in Santa Cruz. I think it's possible in other scenes. I know it's possible in Pacifica, right? Yeah. So there's that. So trying to start something up like that, maybe Moe's Alley can have a punk or ska or both night, whatever. Where every week that if you go down, it's going to be unless they have another show book that's higher profile. If you go down, it's going to be inexpensive and you're going to see some cool bands. Yeah, that would be possible. The other thing I would offer is, I've put out a couple records in the last 3 years. Prior to that, I was putting out records in the 90s. If anybody needs a resource on how do I just put out a record, for myself, as opposed to signing to a label and getting somebody else to do it. If you want to know, I'm not going to do it for you, but if you want to know how to do it on, a relatively, there's no inexpensive anymore for me. I mean, I'm looking at, it used to cost us $2.50 to do a 7-inch. Now it's about $5.50 to put out a 7.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
But I can tell you how to do it for $5.50 and not $8. Right, 300 copies for $5.50 rather than $8. So I'm happy to be a resource for people that want more information on tips and tricks for getting records for relatively inexpensive.
Excellent. And how do people reach out to you about that?
Oh, who do I want to give out? Mark at sa90punk.com.
Nice.
That'll get an email.
That email, mark at sa90punk.com, is also the management email for SA90. So,
because we do it all ourselves, we got no backers, we got nobody helping us. So, So that is the management email for SA90.
Excellent. Cool. Well, thanks guys for hanging out and talking with us. I want to give a last shout out to the fund for Lou Standifer from King Sugar. This is to help his family with his final costs. So please reach out to them. Please give a buck, $2, $12, $10, whatever you can give. It just helps them build a foundation.
$5 million.
$5 million. And check out these bands, man. We got Mark Hanford from SA90. We've got Parker Wallerstein from Legal Disaster. And we got Mackenzie Rose from the Swashbuckling Doctors. Thank you very much for being on the show. And this is the Bidness. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Guys, have a good one.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Cheers.